I hope you are well, healthy, and safe. Today, I want to share something that every human being carries within them, yet very few ever learn to master. It is the invisible battlefield that shapes your peace, your clarity, and your happiness. It is the war that happens inside your anxious mind. And if you learn to win this war, you will not only change your inner world, you will also transform the way you move through the outer world. So let us begin. The first truth to understand is this: anxiety is not your enemy. It is a messenger from the deeper parts of your being. It is your mind's attempt to warn you, to protect you, to prepare you. But like an overprotective guardian, it often takes you to the extreme. It imagines threats where there are none. It plays possible outcomes like a movie you never asked to watch. And before you realize it, you are no longer living in the present moment. You are living inside your fears. Most people try to silence anxiety by forcing themselves to think positively or by distracting themselves until the feeling fades. But this does not end the war. It only postpones the battle. Because the root of anxiety is not fear. The root of anxiety is a lack of clarity. When the mind does not understand what is happening, it tries to create explanations. And because the anxious mind is shaped by past pain and future worries, the explanations it creates are almost always negative. To win the war inside your anxious mind, you must shift your relationship with your thoughts. You must stop playing the role of the soldier who reacts to every signal, every noise, every shadow. A soldier has no choice. He acts because he must. But the general does not react. A general observes, evaluates, chooses when to act and when to simply watch. This is the mindset you must develop. Your anxious thoughts seem loud because you have been giving them authority. You have been accepting them as truth without examining where they come from. Most of the thoughts that cause your fear are simply echoes of old experiences, old disappointments, old fears that were never healed. They are not warnings about your present. They are reminders from your past. When you learn to watch these thoughts without immediately believing them, something powerful happens. You create distance. You create space. You realize that your thoughts are like waves on the surface of the ocean. They rise, they crash, they disappear. But the ocean itself remains steady, deep, and untouched. You are that ocean. Your thoughts are only waves. And waves cannot drown the ocean they belong to. Anxiety will rise and fall, but you remain. This realization is your first victory, because the war inside your anxious mind is not won by fighting your thoughts. It is won by understanding them, by watching them, by refusing to let them dictate your identity. Your mind is a powerful instrument, but only when you choose to become its master, not its servant. The second step to winning the inner war is understanding the powerful relationship between your mind and your body. Many people believe anxiety begins in the mind, but in truth, your body often speaks before your thoughts do. Your heart beats faster. Your breath becomes shallow. Your muscles tense as if preparing for danger. And because the mind is always listening, it interprets these physical signals as threats. This is why an anxious thought can become a full-body experience within seconds. To interrupt this cycle, you must train your breath and your body to become your allies. An anxious mind cannot survive in a relaxed body. The moment you learn to soften your muscles, slow your breathing, and ground yourself in stillness, the storm inside quiets. Your breath is the bridge between your mind and your emotions. When you control your breath, you control the message your body sends to your brain. This is why ancient masters always focus on breath work, not because it is spiritual or symbolic, but because it is powerful. When you inhale deeply, your body receives the signal of safety. When you exhale slowly, you release tension, fear, and emotional pressure. In this state, your mind begins to loosen its grip on anxious thoughts. Imagine your breath as a wise teacher. With each inhale, it gathers strength, clarity, and awareness. With each exhale, it lets go of the noise that has been living inside you. You are not just breathing, you are cleaning the inner space of your mind. When anxiety rises, Your thoughts will try to convince you that something is wrong, but your breath is the truth of the present moment. It is the anchor that pulls you out of imaginary futures and brings you back into your body. And anxiety cannot survive in the now. It only lives in the what if, never in the what is. This is why stillness is a warrior's greatest weapon. A storm may rage around you, but if you stay grounded, the storm cannot move you. Inner peace is not the absence of chaos. Inner peace is the ability to stay calm in the middle of chaos. To truly win the war inside your anxious mind, you must learn to practice calmness before you need it. A warrior does not sharpen his sword in battle. He sharpens it every day so that when the moment comes, he is ready. Your breath is your sword. Your stillness is your shield. When you sit with your breath and allow your body to soften, you reclaim your power. You break the chain between physical tension and mental fear. You teach your mind that you are not in danger. Instead of being dragged into worry, you bring yourself back into balance. This is the second victory. The moment you master your breath and your body, you weaken anxiety's hold on your mind. You become the calm presence within your own life. You become someone who is grounded, centered, clear, and unshaken. Your breath becomes your ally. Your body becomes your refuge. And your mind begins to understand that peace is possible. The third part of winning the war inside your anxious mind is learning to separate who you are from what you feel. This is where most people lose themselves. They say, I am anxious, as if anxiety is their identity, their personality, their permanent state. But this is not true. You are not anxiety. You are the awareness that notices anxiety. You are not fear. You are the consciousness observing fear. Imagine standing on a mountain. Clouds will come and go across the sky. Storms may pass, winds may rise, rain may fall, but the mountain remains unmoved. Your emotions are the weather. You are the mountain. When you forget this, you begin to believe that every emotion is who you are. When you remember this, you realize that emotions rise, fall, and dissolve, but your true self remains unchanged. Anxiety appears when your mind attaches to a thought and turns it into a story. Something simple happens, yet the mind creates a dramatic scene that does not exist. One thought becomes 10. 10 thoughts become a storm. And suddenly, you are living inside a future that has not happened. But the moment you step back and observe the emotion, instead of becoming it, you break that cycle. Mastery begins with a simple shift in language. Instead of saying, I am anxious, say, anxiety is visiting me. This may seem small, but it is powerful. When something visits you, it has no authority over you. When something visits, it can also leave. This creates space between you and the emotion. And in that space, clarity appears. You must understand that emotions are not failures. They are signals. They are communications from within. Anxiety often points to unresolved hurt, unhealed memories, unmet needs, or suppressed fears. Instead of resisting the emotion, sit with it, allow it to speak. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to show me? When you listen, the emotion becomes softer, because what we observe honestly no longer controls us. The war intensifies when you resist what you feel. When you say, I should not feel this way, you create inner conflict. Resistance adds weight. Acceptance releases it. Accepting an emotion does not mean you like it. It means you allow it to exist without fighting it. And something magical happens when you do this. The emotion begins to lose its power. Anxiety is like a child knocking on your door, asking for attention. If you slam the door, it knocks louder. If you open it, acknowledge it, and give it a moment, the knocking stops. This is how emotional awareness works. You do not suppress. You do not resist. You observe. Most suffering comes not from the emotion itself, but from the story you add to it. The thought says something might go wrong. The story says everything will go wrong. The thought says this is uncomfortable. The story says I cannot handle this. When you remove the story, the emotion becomes much lighter. It becomes manageable. It becomes temporary. This is your third victory. When you disconnect your identity from your emotion, You return to your true self. You become steady. You become aware. You become the observer, not the overwhelmed thinker. And this single shift transforms your entire inner world. The final step to winning the war inside your anxious mind is understanding that the battle ends the moment you stop fighting against yourself. Most people believe they must eliminate anxiety completely to feel peaceful. But in truth, the goal is not to destroy anxiety. The goal is to transform your relationship with it. When you stop treating anxiety as an enemy and begin seeing it as a teacher, everything changes. Your anxious mind is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your inner world is asking for understanding. It is asking for presence. It is asking for compassion. Think of how you treat someone you care about when they are afraid. You do not shout at them. You do not reject them. You do not tell them to just stop feeling that way. You sit with them. You listen. You offer comfort. This is how you must treat yourself. Many people lose the war inside their mind because they constantly punish themselves for being anxious. They think something is wrong with them. They think they are broken, but you are not broken. You are evolving. You are learning how to navigate the complexities of your inner life. You are learning to understand your emotions, not run from them. Self-compassion is not weakness, it is inner strength. It allows you to approach your emotions with patience instead of fear. When anxiety rises, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this moment trying to show me?" One question creates resistance, the other creates growth. When you stop fighting, you begin healing. When you stop criticizing yourself, you begin understanding. And that understanding becomes your power. It becomes your clarity. It becomes your peace. Winning the war inside your anxious mind means you begin guiding your thoughts instead of being guided by them. It means you recognize that not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion demands your reaction. You choose where to place your energy. You choose the meaning you give to each moment. Think of your mind as a garden. Anxiety is like wild weeds. If you try to rip them out angrily, they grow back stronger. But if you patiently understand where they come from, soften the soil, and remove them with awareness, the garden begins to change. Slowly, gently, consistently. This is how you cultivate inner peace. The true victory is not an explosion of strength. It is a quiet returning to yourself. It is a calm declaration, "I am here. I am present. I can handle this." The moment you speak to yourself with this kind of clarity, your anxious thoughts begin to lose their power. They no longer control you. They no longer shape your decisions. They no longer define who you are. You move through life with a new kind of confidence. Not the loud external confidence the world praises, but the silent confidence of someone who has faced their inner storms and learned to stand tall despite them. You become grounded. You become steady. You become peaceful from within. This is the final victory. Not the end of anxiety, but the end of its control over you. A mind that once felt like a battlefield becomes a place of balance. A heart that once felt overwhelmed becomes a place of strength. And a soul that once felt lost begins to walk with clarity.